Hello all. Thank you for attending DePIN Day. It's a pleasure to have all of you over here. We are here to discuss from hype to business case of decentralized compute infrastructure. So with me, we have panelists from three different sectors: blockchain services, infrastructure, GPU marketplaces, and also gaming sector. The reason why we are here to discuss is uh, blockchain compute in general has been transforming cost structures in the industry, driving new markets, transforming adoption, and pushing the adoption to a new extent. And we are at the precipice of going from a utopian vision of decentralized infrastructure to actual, hey Amar, actual enterprise-grade adoption. So before we go ahead, I would like to introduce, to my left is a good friend, an ex-colleague, head of ecosystem at Spheron Network, Prakarsh. Prakarsh, a couple of words about yourself and Spheron.
Hey, hi everyone. Glad to be here and good friends of Fluence from very initial days and good friends of Justin as well. And our focus is to scale as much compute because this is a very positive sum market, to be honest. And we have been scaling specifically on GPUs. And yes, we have been partnering up on VM side, bare metal side, anything which our customer wants. So pretty interested to be on this panel. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Prakash. To his left, we have Amar Bedi, the CEO of Tashi Network. He comes with 15 plus years of experience in partnerships, business development ventures, two-time founder, now leading Tashi Network. So a couple of words about Tashi as well, please.
Hi everyone, super excited to be here. We started Tashi 3 years back with a dream that we want to make decentralized compute a reality in a way that the hardware devices in the world are becoming a lot more powerful. And we want to go back to the internet, which used to be peer-to-peer. So 10 years back, for people who didn't know, the internet used to be 50% run in a peer-to-peer network. And that's what we're trying to bring back. Super excited to be here. We've been partners with Fluence for a long time. We love them as partners. They've been super helpful. We run a lot of Tashi nodes on Fluence too. So we're glad that we're here right now. Thank you.
Appreciate that. To the extreme left, we have Karan Chopra, the CTO of InstaNodes, a product of Antia Solutions, one of our key customers. He's been building in the space for 7+ years, blockchain solutions architect with InstaNodes and Antia. A couple of words about what you guys do at InstaNodes.
Sure. So, Enter has been in this space from quite good time. It's 15 odd years, okay. So now we realize there is a need of a product, okay, because we are one of the biggest consumer of all kind of nodes from Ethereum to Polygon and roll-ups, everything. So we built this product by the name of InstaNodes, and most of its nodes have been hosted on Fluence. We are trying to migrate there. So, yeah, that's about us. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. So the agenda here is simple. We want to understand when did the transition happen from the idealistic concept of a decentralized compute infrastructure to actual adoption. And the biggest driver for that is cost efficiency. It is very evident that decentralized compute is efficient, and that is the primary driver for any adoption that's taking place right now in the space. So putting you on the spot, tell us exactly what you think is the infrastructure cost for your company, for your sector, and what percentage of that is compute for you, starting with Karan.
So, in my opinion, DePIN in its early days, okay, 2 years back when I talk about DePIN, when we talk about decentralized infrastructure, people are just in the exploration phase. Now, startups, protocols trying to move it out onto enterprise grades, okay. With even currently we were on AWS, on Huawei servers, but now we are trying to migrate on Fluence as a DePIN protocol because it's relevant, cheaper, give more decentralization in the network, honestly, and reducing the cost at the same time. But I think it's need to grow more, make the system more production ready, okay, so and cost effective, so that everybody can use it for a production grade system.
And what percentage of your industry functions in terms of cost? What percentage of that is compute for you?
It's really very heavy.
Safe to assume it's around 70, 80% or more probably?
Yeah.
100%.
Even more than that.
That's precisely where Fluence comes into play, that technologies like Fluence is going to knock that pricing off by 80% or more, increasing efficiency, and then ensuring that you get high performant, very affordable compute for all use cases. Amar, you work in an industry which is $50 billion plus at current day, looking at around 150 billion towards 2030. How do you see DePIN space and DePIN compute and Fluence, factoring into that equation right there?
Our industries, or the way we look at things, is slightly different than the average deep in decentralized compute players, which are trying to take compute from the centralized guys and putting it on a decentralized infrastructure. Our core business is built around running mesh nets, which are essentially peer-to-peer networks. So you're kind of removing the need for any centralized compute and offloading it back to the peers that are running or are part of that ecosystem. So we apply this for AI, gaming, robotics, and IoT. And that's kind of 80% of what our protocol is kind of focused on. The parallel layer is our DePIN layer, which acts as the services layer to ensure cloud level optimization and performance. And that's where the compute comes in, and that's where we are partners with the likes of Fluence. So our overall spend on cloud is not as high, so I think that's where we really differ. It may be like 10-20% of our overall costs, but we feel like having the decentralized partners for us is critical because our goal is to have a Tashi node 20 milliseconds ping from anyone that needs to have a mesh net at any part in the world. So we have 50,000 nodes that are live right now. We want to get to 1 million nodes. So it's about true decentralization, and the more community node run nodes we have globally, that's better for us.
Perfect. And it's safe to assume that almost all of your nodes are running on decentralized compute infrastructures, including Fluence, right? A large portion of them are running on decentralized infrastructures right now, the nodes?
Oh yeah, all of those nodes are fully decentralized. Absolutely.
Perfect. For Spheron's perspective, Prakarsh, what is your take on infrastructures and compute costs in general, the trends that you have seen with your clients as well at Spheron?
I mean, like, cost is one of the modes I think we eventually have to sell compute to anyone out there. Like scalability and these few things are pretty important. Like these comes as one of the core offerings towards businesses which are eventual and which helps you scale on any of these things. Like if you're creating a business, it should have supply and demand, and you need to look at what's the reason I have so much demand for my compute, I have so much demand for the instances or my VMs or anything in general. So I think costing is something which DePIN, like anybody who's going to use DePIN at the end of the day, they have to think of it, why do they use it? The end level customer lies behind this big wall. They are unaware of what is going on. But B2B, I think costing is something which is really important for everybody in the DePIN space eventually. And like it has helped us to scale business, like anybody in DePIN, honestly, to scale business because it gives you this rift because of decentralization. And I really think that creating decentralized products is not an easy job, because like people once compare hyperscalers and neo clouds to services like these, but to be honest, like to create something at such decentralized level, and as Amar said, that it happens on a decentralized network and scaling it to so many nodes at the same time, it's eventually very tough, to be honest. And yeah, still we are saving a lot on the cost side and making it efficient by the day on the orchestration level.
So it's fair to say that we are very early in the adoption cycle. So we have seen some, in the last 2 years, let's assume, we have sorted the demand side of DePIN compute, and now we are the space wherein the supply side, demand side is getting sorted. We see demand increasing day by day from industries in Web 2 and Web 3. So what, according to you, Karan, is going to be the inflection point wherein we see a tremendous increase in the decentralized compute acceptance? One. Two, we already have established that cost efficiency is one aspect where we have a large role to play. But what about integrations, toolings, auxiliaries, regulations? Do you see any other catalyst driving the adoption of compute infrastructure in general?
I believe that's a very good point. In my opinion, we only see it from a lens of a Web3, okay? When the Web2 applications try to opt themselves, shifting from Oracle, shifting from AWS to start using these kind of infrastructure, start having trust in this kind of a system, then this movement will become a catalyst for a major adoption. And for that, in my opinion, all the DePIN protocols need to move a level ahead. We need to build together a production grade application that in case if something goes down, what are the KRAs? What will happen in that case? In case some malicious will happen, what will happen in that case? So everything which biggest companies already done, so we need to take an inspiration and try to mimic in a decentralized way. In this way only we can create more adoption in the system and try to catch a very heavy load applications in Web2 area. And of course, Web3.
Makes sense. Amar, you work in an industry where you've already designed your product along the DePIN ideologies. How do you see compute scaling with Tashi, and what is your internal vision for adoption in this case?
So one of the key things that we've always had as a motto is that go where your customers are. And what we've really done is that for all the industries we've focused on, say gaming, IoT, we've built very industry-focused products. So our gaming product is essentially a Unity-based SDK. So we don't want developers to come in and say, I need to learn a smart contract, I need to learn manage private keys, etc., because you're adding friction in that case. So I think step one is really figuring out where your customers are, how they can use you in a more seamless manner. And I think most DePIN projects, even though we call ourselves Web3, the user interface for most people buying compute is still in fiat. So if you look at all the projects, even the folks who were here before us, the Aether guys, Impossible Cloud, if Jenny did his pitch about GPUs, it's in dollars. So it's not, at least if I'm not getting this wrong, the idea is that you can buy that compute in fiat. You're not buying it necessarily in tokens. So you're using blockchain infrastructure, but you're still offering it in a way that the customer can use it. I think that is the most critical thing. And the more we remove this friction and talk about tokens, etc., for the customer, it becomes easier to drive adoption. In terms of demand, I think the biggest thing to note is if you take all the big hyperscalers, say AWS, AWS operates at about a 35% utilization rate and still has about a 65% margin, right? So that goes to show that this space is still a blue ocean, that there is so much demand that you will have centralized guys, you'll have decentralized guys. In the next 10 years, as robotics comes in, the amount of compute the robots will need, you'll have 10, 20 billion robots. They'll be running all kinds of models and doing inference. You compound that, I don't think it's about competing with anyone. It's about having the right sources of compute in place that are closest to the edge, that are most optimized and ready for the customers that need them.
Fair. So in that case, we are moving towards a future where customers are going to be more knowledgeable about what services they can adopt. It would be a large mix of decentralized compute rising and stabilizing and living with the other hyperscalers out there.
Oh, 100%. Like even today, if you think about like Aether, for example, which has about 150 million of ARR, which is fantastic in this space, they've not taken someone else's market share. Like this industry is worth billions of dollars. And I think that industry will only keep going. It'll become a $1 trillion+ industry very soon.
Fair. Prakarsh, for you, the same question. How do you see the infrastructure and tooling shaping up for platforms like Fluence and Spheron, wherein we see adoption rising, and how does it shape for you?
I mean, like, eventually what I see is that application layer is very important for every one of us. Like, at the end of the day, the end consumer really care about good UI, actual scalable things. Like, how many of you have Luma on your phones? Everyone, almost, like, everybody got here, so I can presume that everybody has Luma. Why Luma exists on your phone? Because of good user experience. Do you know what cloud services does Luma use? Does anybody know? Rarely. If somebody works in Luma team, that would be surprising. But yeah, like rarely people know what kind of cloud services do they use. And that's how good products are. The issue is that for decentralized compute, we have figured out a way that how we can scale these things. Now we just need good products. That's it. Like image to video and video generation, like Higgsfield and few of the products which have really created a demand for these machines. And inference is getting cheaper by the day. Everybody is trying to make sure that inference gets cheap so that they can run on lower level compute. And then it's the inflection point for decentralized compute. If on the baseline, what I mean to say, like companies like Spheron and Fluence have so much of the market to capture because of the inference coming down and the scale they need and also the latent devices they need throughout. And that's where like decentralized compute flourishes in, because as you see, like uh, companies like Science just got acquired like few months back, which is a very big thing because all of these conglomerates are trying to control as much compute as they can initially. So it's the right path. We need to find those players who are designing anything which has to do with compute and initially like designing products which are scalable enough to use, like imagine the Gilby style happened on our machines and your machines, right? We would not be here and we would be in some data center extinguishing the fire out, right? And that's what we need more of. Like we need actual consumer products. I'm a very big fan of SocialFi. I'm a very big fan of AI and social and consumer grade apps down there. So at the end of the day, it really matters. Yes, B2B is very important to run the business, but what B2B is taking decisions for a consumer at the end of the day. So that's very important.
Thank you. That sets me up for the next question to Karan over here. Karan, you run Insta nodes wherein you're running high availability node infrastructures. And how has a cost-efficient compute like Fluence changed your delivery model? What, how does it factor into your integrations, your deliveries for your clients?
See, at Instanode, what we are doing, this market is really very competitive. Okay, giving infrastructure nodes, it's a very competitive market because there are a lot of players are there. Okay, so running it on Huawei, running it on AWS, GCP, doesn't make me a competitive edge. Okay, working with you, working with Fluence, yes, it provides a competitive edge. It provides me a cheaper server. So in that way, I can abstract lot of things for the multiple customers and can provide a better and cheaper um, in rates and better in quality. So yes, it impact good in a good way.
Again, a follow-up for you. Essentially, the cost efficiency of decentralized compute is actually also restructuring economic models in which larger hyperscalers are working, right? We have seen in our conversations that large cloud service providers are also looking at pricing discounts, if they can call it. They're dropping down the prices to actually go ahead and be more competent in the market. You have the rise of a second degree cloud service providers out there. So how does that also factor into your delivery model?
Actually, according to me, I think Amar raised a very good point when you're talking about the AWS, that how much they actually use. Okay, uh, so according to me, this market is really very blue ocean. Okay, but when decentralized compute come into the picture, it provide a competitive edge to everybody. Okay, because then this market is now turning to its real point, to a real value where we can again do the price discovery, whether it's via decentralized protocols or whether they do it by their own.
Uh, so Amar, to you, looking beyond all of these individual projects, how do you think the space is redefining DePIN and gaming in specific? Over and beyond Tashi, what you guys are doing right now?
Our vision really is that gaming should become fully decentralized. So the Tashi vision in itself is that there are no servers. But I think when you go even more forward, look 10 years down the line, um, you'll have AI allowing us to build the game that we really want to play and playing it with our friends. And when you multiply that at scale, that is crazy numbers that gaming has not seen at this point of time. And you'll need local compute, because one of the biggest challenges that we've seen is that, say you have people in an area which is far from a data center, because data centers aren't all over the world. So you say some remote part of Indonesia. People connecting to a data center in Singapore, and if Singapore is full out, then Bahrain or Japan, that's like a 150 plus millisecond ping. So you're impacting actual gameplay because you're not near a data center. So when you think of the future of this, the idea is that you're bringing the compute near the people who need it, and bringing it, that's what our vision is, under 20 milliseconds away from each player. And that's what the future of decentralized compute really allows you to do, is provide experiences to the players which don't exist at this point of time.
All right. Uh, Prakash, for you, question is more on the side of, with the compute infrastructure adoption increasing rapidly, we see a lot of GPU adoption also increasing on your platforms. We see that on our networks as well. So how are you addressing the fact that we should be more, so it's an open architecture right now. It's a permission layer of deploying your workloads. So how do you ensure it's an environmentally viable and ethical side of operations that you can ensure?
I mean, like, the whole DePIN segment is actual very environment pro, to be honest, because as you see that there are so many edge devices, like no matter who's doing DePIN specifically, there are so many edge devices that gets connected to the network, and then you can put on different workloads. Imagine that compute is already in the world. It already exists. It's in some house. It's somewhere. It has already been set up, not being utilized on a data center. Data center do take a lot of space, a lot of energy. There are different data centers. Like, people who don't know, just a quick thing, like, data center consume a lot of space, a lot of energy, and generate a lot of noise as well. So if you don't think that it's not scalable at the end of the day, the amount of AI which is growing every day we see, and the amount of inference which we are trying to, like, even today, like, you are using Grok, ChatGPT, all of these different applications, they are being inferenced in some part of some data center near you, or like where their servers are. Eventually, if you do that on DePIN compute, you would be solving one of the biggest issues out there, is that energy that is being utilized on such high level in these data centers. And once you enter those places, these are mammoth. Like, I personally never thought that it would be so big, and like, once I got into this industry, it is a pretty interesting. And companies like Fluence and companies like Spheron, like, can vertically integrate with each other and actually solve what consumer really needs right now, and can just spin off compute by it. It makes complete sense. The reason, like, right now everybody's focus should be is to create better distribution channels and understand what customer needs right now, so that we can do better for the environment. And DAI is actually the best place to do that.
Perfect. So on the final round of questions, let's start with Prakash again. What's next for Spheron? What are you guys working on? What's the next product that you guys are shipping?
So as I am here, I would love to tell about the Fluence partnership which is coming up. And we are happy to partner with Fluence on the machine end, and super happy to have partners who let us take the DePIN side ahead. And also, on top of it, I would love to have Fluence on different stations of DePIN distribution, which we have created, and would love to push that forward. And also, in terms of focus, like, as you can see, the DePIN meta is kind of waving right now. It always happens, like, this works in pretty much in many cycles. But I would say that we have been building for such long amount of time, and the focus is more B2B than just B2B to consumers. So I think, like, we should keep pushing towards creating better boundaries and better software for people who are going to use it. So yeah, that's new for Spheron, and yeah, we're glad to be here.
Thanks, Prakash. Amar, for you, what's the most exciting thing that's going to be coming out of Tashi next, in maybe the next 3, 6, 9 months possibly?
So two big things coming up for us. One is we're planning our token launch in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So that's super exciting. For anyone that's interested, check us out. Hit us up if you want to chat with us about that. The second most important is we've been working on, we've set up a foundation called Intercognitive, which is looking at the future of AI and robotics. And we are owning the layer called the orchestration layer, where we want to allow and figure out how robots can coordinate with each other in a decentralized manner without having any centralized entity in the middle. We've done some research papers and a few other things, and we're running some simulations which we'll be releasing quite soon. One of our robotics hardware partners suggested a case study which we're running a simulation on, which is quite interesting, which is a situation where you have like 20 robot dogs jumping out of a truck, going into a forest to find a missing kid. So kind of think of Stranger Things in, run by robots. So that's something that we've been working on the side, and we'll be releasing that in the next couple of weeks. So quite excited about that.
Amazing. Karan, what's in line from Instant Nodes and by extension Anti-Solutions as well?
Sure. So in coming days, we are trying to launch few products. Okay, one AAA game by the name of Helium Wars. Okay, to give a better gaming experience, might be on a DePIN protocol if it works fine. And another, there is one of the serious use case of Web3 that is by the name of chain abstraction, that we are trying to abstract multiple protocols, so solving the liquidity of the multiple platforms.
Amazing. And then I hope most of it is on Fluence again with our relation ongoing. And that concludes our panel. If you guys have any questions, we are open for it.
Great. Well, lunch is also served finally. So everyone gets a break. Finally get a break.